Behold, the PRS, Mark Holcomb, Camreel. Alright. You know, that guitar is so useful in many ways, but I didn't realize it would make such a great camera as well. Thanks, Mark. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bass discussion. Got the day off. Yes, I'm in my jammies. Yes, I'm playing through a guitar amp because that's what I got. And the topic is when to upgrade your bass. This bass, as you may have noticed from my tag, I got this bass in February. We're now in August, and I leave the tag on there because it's funny. I've only played 2 songs live with it so far, so I can't tell you what it's like on stage or whatever. And I haven't played through a proper bass amp yet. I've only played through a PA and this thing here. But it's not too bad. The fat switch, I don't. Is everything full here? The tone all the way off. I don't want to blow my speakers. I don't even know if the battery's still working. So this is a passive active bass. It's got that little fat switch that just gives you a little bit of girthiness in the sound. Whatever, but it's a good bass for a beginner bass. Here's what I'm learning with this bass is that I'm discovering something that Billy Sheenan was talking about, and even though I'm a guitar player, really, I've been playing guitar for 45 years, so I'm 50 now, and dabbled with bass all over the years, and I'm trying to learn proper techniques other than just 2 fingers all the time. Like I'm doing a lot of fucking line from one of my songs. So it's not a bad bass. It's a bit buzzy, whatever, but it's a cheap bass. It's 34-inch scale, 5 strings. Do I recommend for somebody who's never played an instrument before in their life to start with a 5-string? With the caveat of if you were to take lessons and learn proper techniques and muting techniques right from the get-go. Me, I'm a multi-instrumentalist, so I tend to approach a new instrument, no matter what it is, differently, where it's like I'm going to try to do everything in my power to avoid the newbie mistakes of not, muting the strings. So like I'm already right from the get-go learning how to mute the strings and stuff like that, so I can, whatever. So my muting techniques right off the get-go, I'm doing that, so I'm not going to have to unlearn. Yes, Missy. Yeah. Cats. What? What's the problem? I'm gonna play the bass on you. You're coming to interrupt my video, aren't you? Or you have to. Sorry, you gotta pay the cat tax. Yeah, there. You happy now? Pull your tail. There. So anyway, she likes to come and listen to me play. So I got no choice. But anyway, as I was saying, for somebody who doesn't know it all on bass, I'm learning, right? So I'm still learning. But as a musician that plays violin, mandolin, ukulele, obviously guitars, pretty much anything, a little bit of piano, I don't have one, but piano, keyboard, a little bit of drums, I can pretty much dabble in that. And bass I've just dabbled with over the years, and then, I took bass in high school. They're flattening out my cat a bit. Where I, for 2 semesters, one semester I played the drums, one semester I played bass, and I learned a lot about bass, and I've always liked bass, and I've dabbled with them over the years. Only maybe played a handful of songs and jam nice with the bass, I usually grab the guitar, not the bass, right? But I've done it. So anyway, you can leave me alone now. This not everything's about you. Anyway, she's like 15 years old, and she still thinks everything's about her. Anyway, what I've learned is something that Billy Sheehan said about the bass, that people upgrade their basses too quickly, and you should spend time with the bass you have and really get to know it. And not only that, it'll surprise you, like what you're going to learn. I'm learning different things pretty much on a weekly basis with this, and because I'm really putting the time in. I play it every day. I write songs with it, stuff like that. I do chords. I'm working on the slap thing. I'm not really. I'm not perfect at the slap yet, so. But the three finger thing, I'm not too bad. Not bad. I'm not super fast at it. Like I'm not like Jocko or anything like that. So I can noodle enough to be dangerous. But I know I'm going to get better with it. But what this bass is teaching me is that, yeah, spend time with it, because the action of this bass, it's a player. It might not be the best sounding bass. I don't care if it's the best sounding bass. I bought it mainly for recording and stuff like that. But it sounds good enough. And I know that when I play my first, probably about 3-hour gig, the typical gig's 3 sets, so about an hour a set, I'll find out a lot more about my bass playing than I will about the bass. The bass, that's what it sounds like, right? So it doesn't sound bad. It doesn't sound horrible. Intonation's good. What more could you want, right? And you got good fret access. You know what I mean? It stays in tune. I don't think I've tuned this thing 3 times since I bought it. I've maybe touched it up in the recordings and once or twice. So I'm like, okay, well, first thing I noticed that the next bass that precedes this bass will have to be at least as reliable as this bass. You know what I mean? Like it'll have to stay in tune as good as this bass. It'll have to intonate as well as this bass, and it'll have to be easier to play than this bass, which this bass plays pretty. I love that little beat. And I'm also learning that as much as I'd like to have a good 4-string, I don't know if I can live without that B string. So the thing I didn't know about these Ibanez Geos is I knew you could get them in a few configurations of 5-string bass. This is the base model 5-string. It's the cheapest 5-string, second cheapest 5-string you can get from Ibanez. They make a single pickup version of this as well, which I probably would have bought that, but then I thought, well, no, I'd rather have the 2 pickups, because I prefer a passive bass anyway. Just for simplicity. But when you play this bass, the thing I'm learning about it is the only thing you concentrate on is you're playing. Why? Because it's not flashy, and the fretwork is okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. But I've also noticed that it's like, because there's so little bells and whistles, and you do have enough blending that you can do, but you don't get a lot of difference between these pickups. These are not really defined sounding pickups. So it's not like an Ernie Ball bass or something like that, or a Sire bass where you got 16 different settings or whatever. And this is just kind of like plug it in, and the sound you get, and the playability is what it is. Just play it. And what that's giving me is A, more skills, but B, it's also making me think about the basses I'm not going to buy. because of what this does. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell you a $400 bass is the be all and I'm not one of those guys that tell you that, you're wasting your money if you buy this or you buy that because it does nothing matters. And I'm not one of those guys. Things do matter. Nuance matters. It's just how much. But what I'm also noticing is that, well, if I buy another bass, maybe I have to buy something different. I do want a really good quality 5-string for sure. And maybe I just buy one more really good 5-string bass and that does everything I want. Because I've been planning on maybe a 3 bass setup, a 6-string of some sort, a really good 4-string, maybe 2, and a 5-string, a really good quality 5-string. And I've been looking at the Warwick basses. Ibanez, the multi-scale thing, I also want to look at that because of the low B. Like, I mean, this is not bad. I'll play a line from one of my songs that I'm working on. Like, that's pretty clear, even though it's going through a guitar amp, right? And I got both pickups on right there and the tone full. That's pretty audible. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but I'm like, okay, it's clear enough. I could probably live with this bass for a couple of years, but I'm 50, right? I'm not saying I'm going to die soon, but what I'm saying is that I don't know if I want to hold off buying a new bass, but I want to buy something that's going to supersede this and blow away the expectation. So